All right, welcome everyone. We are trying this new thing during this time of quarantine in the life of Plymouth, trying to do recorded conversations in a podcast format. And today I'm very excited because we have Mai Moore who is joining us and telling us a little bit about her own experiences during this quarantine from the coronavirus, but also I think this is also an excellent opportunity just to share moments of faith that we have all experienced in our lives and kind of what has got us to different points. Because I think a lot of us right now are drawing from the wells of our faith experiences as we learn more about God and faith during this life of quarantine. So thank you so much, Mai, for being here today. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it back.
So I want to start off with you, if you could tell us perhaps, because I've only been at Plymouth now for coming up on 3 years, but you've been there much longer than that. Can you tell me a little bit about, or tell us a little bit about what brought you to Plymouth, what has kept you there, and how Plymouth has aligned with your own experiences of faith growing up?
Sure. So my name is Mai Moore, and I am 42 years old. As Matt mentioned, I am a member of Plymouth Church. I am a single mother to a soon-to-be 16-year-old, Yumi Blovu, who is part of Plymouth as well. And I am originally from Cleveland Heights, Ohio. I left for 15 years, lived in New York City, Los Angeles, and Turks and Caicos in the Caribbean, and moved back to Cleveland 10 years ago. And initially I moved to Shaker Heights. And I knew within that first month, like I needed to find a church. And I simply went online and I searched non-denominational, and I found 3 churches, and I did the typical church buying process. I visited 2 other churches, and the third one was Plymouth. And literally when I walked in the door, I felt like this is it. There was like no question. I just knew. And that could be a combination of things, just the welcoming atmosphere, the diversity in people. I think a lot of people knew my mother, and I also used to live in Shaker Heights for a couple years when I was little. But that wasn't really the factor. It was just really comfort and just relating, I guess, to several members, and the fact that it's UCC. I think those were the drawing points for me. And I grew up really with no religion. I definitely visited when I was younger many different types of churches. And I also visited, I went to synagogue services. I've been to a Jewish summer camp. But really, my mother, she's not really religious. I mean, if anything, she's Buddhist. My grandmother was Buddhist, and my father, not religious at all, but knowledgeable about the Bible. So didn't have religion in the home really at all. And when I was in Turks and Caicos, I started I never really went to church until I lived in Turks and Caicos, and I went to this non-denominational church. And
what made you go to the first time?
That's a good question. Turks and Caicos is a very spiritual place. And again, my ex-husband, he was Catholic. And so I, again, experienced churches. But when I went to Turks and Caicos, for me, a lot of my life has been about callings. And I go with the flow of what goes, I'm very open and go with the flow of what's presented in my life. And I'm sure that several people encouraged me to go to this church. So I went, and I just, I think the reason why I related to non-denominational is because of my background and just dealing with so many different kind of people, and just like I mentioned, different experiences. And it just made me feel a little more comfortable that it was more of a neutral kind of play, I think. And so I was baptized in Turks and Caicos in the waters of Turks and Caicos, which was an unbelievable experience. And so when I only lived in Turks and Caicos 2.5 years. So when I came back, I knew I had to find a church, especially for Yumi too. I think that's important. So yeah, that's kind of my background. What was your next question? What was your other question? Oh, quarantine? Was it quarantine? I don't know.
I think that's, yeah, I can't imagine. So you were baptized there in Turks and Caicos,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That must have been a pretty incredible experience.
Yes, because it was literally in the ocean water. And I think I was around at that time, 31, 32 years old. So, yeah.
Are there other moments as you've like from that moment of baptism, are there other moments where you've been like particularly awed or struck by the presence of God in your life?
Well, now I feel like, I'm constantly every day, all day long talking to God, and I feel like God is present. I mean, literally all day long. So I'm much more in tune with that spirituality. And
just pray without ceasing.
Yes.
Type of understanding.
And just really acknowledging, what comes my way, what are the lessons from every single moment. I'm very, very in tune with that. Not that I always learn, I am human, but, like really being more in touch with that. And I think COVID-19 and this whole pandemic, I'm really grateful for it because I feel like I personally am I'm still working a lot, but like just more in tune with every moment. So I'm kind of grateful for this in a way. Yeah.
Well, I think like that's one thing I'm always very impressed by you. I think you're rightly so identified, like that you have this ability to always take in information in the framework of your faith. That it's not just that this like pray without ceasing, this understanding that like all that I do, all that I am, the way that I interact with this world, this is also through the lens of God.
100%. And that's formed like literally over the years. Like, that was not my case earlier, like when I lived in New York City and all that. And plus I was, young, but, I'm a very literal person. So, and I'm very like straight to the point. And so like when I hear the message, like to me, and I'm also very much an action person. I become more and more as an action person as I've grown older because I'm working with youth. So I see like every moment, the struggles that they're dealing with right in this moment. And so that's also a call to action for me as well. And just, I think society too, just with, I think everybody's turning more and more into an advocate, but I just feel like I know it's my call of duty. And I feel very grateful, the reason why EYJ was started is I know that was my calling. And I had never in a million years, I feel like I have a whole previous life because I was in the tech industry and I helped 2 companies go public and I never thought I'd be doing this work. Like it is so night and day. So it's kind of interesting. It's really unbelievable in certain ways.
Do you think your understanding and your own faith has brought you to the work with EYJ and that organization?
Oh, no question. Everything is centered around God.
Yeah.
The moments of struggle, which I have struggled a lot, every time it's back, God is center right there. No question. All day long, every day. And again, I am still human, but it is, all of the barriers that I face and the struggles and dealing with political wars with EYJ and just, I've been attacked, I've been criticized, you name it. And I just stay focused. That is my personality. I am very focused.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is, you say like that you're thankful for the time of quarantine? Obviously not, we're not thankful that this is going on, but like, what have the experiences been like for you in the midst of quarantine, both like you and Yumi, your family, and
Mm-hmm.
also the work of what new things you're discovering with empowering youth, exploring justice?
Sure. I am grateful for this time because, well, with Yumi, it's I've gotten to spend a lot more time with her. And don't get me wrong, like there's definitely moments, she is a teenager, but just us being close, I think has been a very comforting for both of us. And just doing, taking that time to do like fun activities. Like me and her are just go-getters and like we're always on the go. And so just, taking that time to play the game at night or talking through things or like checking in with about our day is just more calm.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I think this is a time for self-awareness for all of us, in society. And I am much closer, I feel, to myself. And, I see several things. I feel like there's a calmness. I feel like I've slowed down some. I feel also a high amount of anxiety. Of course, I've missed the social aspect, but I've tried, you have to innovate during this time.
Yeah.
There's no other way. So I love that. That's my personality. I love change and I love innovation. So I feel very excited about that. And with EYJ, we lost a lot of money. We lost like $250,000 in contracts. So I had to quickly innovate. And what was so interesting about this period is like the first 2 weeks leading into COVID-19, I actually was supposed to take a sabbatical.
Right. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. So this is a real sabbatical. But like the first 2 weeks, I was so exhausted and I was just decompressing. And then it's a weird incident for me that we went into COVID-19. But like this is an opportunity. Like I am connecting with more people now. I feel like I have been in touch with like old friends. Unfortunately, I'm on social and I need to calm down on that. But it's just a way to connect with people because I just, you have to figure out new ways. But
talking
again,
with people, right? We're talking with people that you haven't talked to in years and years, and seeing faces that you haven't seen in a long time.
Yes, exactly. And I remember the first time I got on a Zoom call, it was like so refreshing to like see humans. Like, like it was just, it makes you realize, it makes you realize how much, connection is so important. And it also makes you realize this pandemic that we have no control. And I think a lot of us have control issues and I think that's not necessarily always like a personal issue. I think it's just society teaches you that in a way.
You think what, like within that, what do you think God's word for us is at this time? We're trying to, or what is God showing us through this? Not that, like, my theology, and I don't manage yours, like, God didn't do this to society, but that doesn't mean God isn't going to act through it and show us how we can use it for the better.
Oh, I think God is guiding us through this. I think the word is remember. Remember what we're here on earth for. Remember that we don't need all the zillion extra things, even though I have been shopping on Amazon lately. But like really, honestly, like what are the basics? Enjoy the nature, connect with people, and just all, we as humans have really screwed up this world. And a lot of it is because of power issues and materialistic issues and money and all that. And it's just like that stuff is so not necessary in a lot of ways. So it's appreciation too. Yeah. Yeah,
like that's my hope, right? Is that we're going through this, but we're not going to just forget it. But that's like, what are we drawn? Like, what really are we drawn to when a lot of things are taken away, and what do we need more of?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we cultivate that in a life when things get a little bit back to normal?
Mm-hmm. And I think, we're moving into a forever changed world. So we have no choice but to change. And I think many people have a hard time with changing, but we're in a different world now. And so it kind of forces us to change in a way. So
where have you, in the midst of this like transition, where do you find yourself struggling with, or what do you find yourself struggling with the most?
anxiety. I mean, I have, I definitely have control issues, and that's probably for many things. I'm a single mom, and my background is in marketing. You have to, I think in some way, and as a woman, probably most women are controlling in a way because we have to control, right? And what that brings to me is anxiety and the unknown. I think that brings anxiety, and for me, I have patience issues. So it's just, you see it more, and you acknowledge and you grow from it. I mean, again, I'm human, and yeah. And I think also self-love, like just having the chance. I didn't realize like how much I was neglecting myself, because I'm definitely a people pleaser, and I am really caring and giving for people. And I think part of that's why I was so exhausted, but just like the chance, like for me to order, like I ordered nails and I put up, a picture on my wall, and like, to me, that's self-love. And it's just, I really like enjoy that, or to cook, and just taking that time to like be a little selfish and like look out for myself has been kind of a luxury. And especially as a single mom, like you don't have chances to do that stuff.
Yeah. Is it, you think it's like pre-quarantine, it's just like the demands of your schedule and the busyness, which has limited you from taking care of yourself, where in quarantine, you're like, often I find you like, you're sitting with like, how am I really feeling right now? And why am I feeling this way? And like, oh, it's because I'm not caring for myself.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to be a person that really reflects a lot, and like I face myself all the time, and I think sometimes I'm a little too hard on myself. But yeah, there's definitely been moments where you're just like sitting in peace, but then you're feeling whatever you're feeling, whether it's pain or loneliness or happy or calmness. There's definitely those moments, which I'm grateful for. So,
I mean, it's pretty hard to hide from your emotions in quarantine, I find. I mean, you can do your best still, but
yeah. I'm not that type of person. Like I tend to face my emotions. So, yeah. So
thinking about, I mean, are there new ways, I mean, in your own life with Yumi, or like looking upon the world, where you've seen glimpses or perhaps new places where God has been appearing in ways you already expected, or in new and unexpected ways?
I think, me, I'm all about social justice. So I feel like I'm super excited. I feel like, I'm around a lot of different kind of people, and especially for like the real like ground root social justice warriors. Like I'm super excited for them, because they've been working on issues for years, and like finally they're getting the attention that they deserve, because I think, people have more time now and they're reading newsletters or on social or whatever. So I'm excited that we're moving into a new world where I see change literally happening, and I'm seeing real leadership, like with our governor, DeWine. Like I've been really impressed with him, because he takes action, and I see also like a lot more. I think people have time now to really realize and see like what our president is doing to this world and this country. So I'm hoping for the best here.
The youth you work with, have you, like, what have their experience, what have some of their issues or experiences or struggles been with this?
So in the beginning, a lot of worry and anxiety, and depression. Like off the bat, it was like immediate, like every single one of my youth council members, their parent got laid off, and, just already they're dealing with survival on a daily basis. And so this is like another level of pure, havoc for them. And so, and just like worries about food and like, how did they get medicine, and how, a lot of them are starting, first year in college, and like what's going to happen with, they put their life, effort into getting into college. And so all of a sudden, like, bam, their first year, this happens, and just worries about making to the next year and learning, and the money they've had to secure or pay themselves, like what's going to happen with that. And then I've got several like older youth who are supposed to be graduating this year, interns from, like, for example, Case, and just not being able to, go to graduation. That sucks. So, but now, I still see some of them loneliness. I still see in some of them a little bit of lack of motivation, but I'm trying to help change that for them. Depression, I see. So it's, one of them lost his job. So it's a work in progress,
Yeah. I mean, like and those are the things too, that like conversations I've had with people at the church, and like one of the questions I always ask is just like, how is your loneliness?
Mm-hmm.
I think loneliness, anxiety are just like present on our hearts during this time.
Definitely. But I think with loneliness, you have to learn how to be lonely. You have to learn, my daughter just posted that we just had this incredible Twitter discussion. When was that? Monday, I think. Monday, whatever, with EYJ and like the youth council. I was just so impressed with them. And Yumi actually posted, she said, it's been a bit lonely at times. And I told her, I said, you have to learn how to be lonely, because through that you can really be at peace. So I think it's a powerful thing. And the anxiety thing, I do believe with anxiety, God's definitely telling you something. That is like it's a reminder of something.
Yeah, that's what I should have been, I think, spending a lot of time thinking about, is like knowing that the future, right, for months, for half a year, for a year, is so uncertain. Like, how is God speaking to us in the midst of that anxiety, in the midst of that loneliness, and what is God saying to us in order to help us navigate and get through?
I think a lot of times God is saying we're okay.
Yeah.
But like, we forget that at times. We're in a society, like, we're not good enough. There's pressure. You need to make more money. You need to have a better career. You should have this car. And like, God is like, chill out. Like, we're okay. So.
And I am with you.
Yes.
You are okay. I
Yes.
am with you. I am with you. And that this is not all of it.
Right.
That there's also something far greater going on here, both in this world and in the next.
That's good.
Yeah, I think for me, like, just continuing to evaluate and sit with and try not to be, like you had talked before about patience, and a little bit of, and that was like a word on my heart before quarantine started, and now is even more present and pressing. That I'm not very good at being patient, that I want things done on my time, and do them like at a specific time, quickly and according to my schedule.
Right.
And I was like thinking about that a lot, preparing for Francis getting here, knowing that I can't do things at my speed no longer. All the time.
I did say that to you. Yes.
But yeah, and then like now, right? Like, so much we can't do on our time or with our own desires at the helm. And I do think, like, I like those posts of social media being like, encouraging patients also being like, this is one great act of love that we're doing for the world, that we're sacrificing, or we're giving a service to others in the names of our own, perhaps happiness at times, in the name of our own loneliness, in the name of our anxiety. That is a word from God.
It's been interesting too, like for me, there's been phases to this quarantine, and like there was times when I was feeling like guilty because I wasn't, I don't know how to say it. Like I wasn't, like, even though like I know God's present and like I know like I'm talking to God every single day, like I didn't feel like as close, because I think I almost felt like a guiltiness, like God's got to handle so much else right now. But at the same time I had to keep on saying like, that's okay. Like that, because sometimes I think I put pressure on myself, like need to be closer to God, but I just took a step back and be like, God's there, but there's a lot going on. And, so it's like, I think we don't, like, again, it goes back to like, just chill out. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Oh, I'm the most, well, not the most, I am often guilt driven in the way I interact with the world, and particularly with my life of faith. I always feel guilty about not connecting with God, or not praying enough, or not thinking I'm spiritual enough. And like often after I eat communion, after I eat communion, I usually do like my own confession. And a part of that is just like, I'm sorry for not being there enough. Or not like praying enough. And a couple times the refrain the response is like, just save that for something else. Right. Brian Shields told me yesterday when I was talking about guilt of parenthood, he's like, save your guilt for something good. Like, which is just like a word from God. Like, cause often I think we're guilty at stuff we shouldn't be guilty at.
Well, isn't part of like, when we're at church or during the sermon, isn't it about forgiveness and movement forward? And I think we have to learn to let that go and move forward from it. Easier said than done, but
yeah. In my I don't think God's words were this, but I've often, one of the things that I wrote in my journal was just like, Matt, like, I'm bored with this. Like, move on past this. Like, stop being guilty. Like, I'm not worried about it. You shouldn't be worried about it.
Right. And I think as humans, though, like some more than others, though, we tend to overanalyze things, and we get like stuck in that that muck. And so we have to pull ourselves out of it and like be like, okay, I acknowledge it. I'm moving forward now.
Yeah. I think like letting the grace of God decide how we examine ourselves and our actions, rather than our own cynical and like overcritical minds.
Yeah. Yes. That's good. So how have you been during COVID-19? You have like, by the way, a new baby.
Baby.
Yes.
Francis is great. I really like him. Mary Pat and I both really enjoy him. He was born for us selfishly at a good time, because his board is literally like everything changed. So our parents were already in town. So they all got to meet him, which was really nice. Because I know a lot of my friends who are having babies right now, like the baby only knows two people and a doctor, like, and some nurses. So that was really great. But yeah, it's like I was preparing to adjust to having a new baby. I wasn't prepared to transition to a whole new job and a new workflow and parenthood. So that's been filled with ups and downs, and good days and a lot of bad days, and just a lot of self-critical days, and some days of trying to just like give myself some patience in the midst of this. That like, I shouldn't be good at quarantine. Nobody shouldn't be good at fatherhood right now. Like, I should be learning and growing and trying to figure that out.
And just embrace the moment.
Well, that's been the grace too of like being able to work from home and spending more time with Mary Pat and Francis, and selfishly that's worked out a little bit for us, and like that I can help out, or I can take him if she needs a break or needs to do something during the day. So,
does that mean that her sabbatical is canceled basically? Like,
so she's still on maternity leave. She gets till September to go, or till August and September.
Oh, that's cool.
She'll be on maternity leave for, so
that's great.
Yeah, so it's a good roller coaster ride for us.
Right.
But we're hopeful to, we found we can be sane and productive people and take care of a human being. So
that's awesome.
It's a good learning that we have discovered.
That's a blessing. That's awesome.
Well, Mai, thank you so much for doing this and for giving this a shot early on as we go forward and see how this evolves. But I think, being able to share stories and experiences during a moment such as this is a beautiful and wonderful thing. So thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was awesome conversation.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.